So now you're a Premiere Pro user who understands how the UI works, you understand how to create your own project files, sequences, you understand how the timeline works, and you even understand how to move and change properties inside of the effect controls panel. You're already making good progress, but now it's time to dive into the editing tools. So now that you are someone who's a bit more nurtured in the editing program and understand a little bit more, we can start getting into the nice stuff. So the editing tools are a set of tools which we use to basically complete our edit. So if you have Premiere Pro open, let's go ahead and start using these together and seeing exactly what they do. I've got my clip over here on the timeline, and I'm sure you've got a clip as well. And the first tool I want to talk to you about is the first one up here, which is your selection tool, which is your cursor. If you hover over it, it tells you the name and the shortcut assigned to it. I have a shortcut assigned as A. In the next course, I'll talk to you guys about shortcuts and settings, and we'll talk about how we should align our shortcuts, but for now, don't even worry about this. So your selection tool is a tool that allows you to select your clip and move it around places. So if you want to move it forward, you can move it forward, move it backward, you can move it backward. You can do a bunch of stuff. You can move it to the top of your timeline, you can move it to the bottom of your timeline. Whatever you want to do, you can always Control Z to undo, but you can use your selector to move things around. So I want you to just keep this thing in mind, right? Whenever you select this selector, it's always going to be used to either select something and change your effect controls, or it's used to select something and move things around your scene like so. The second big tool that you're going to be using a lot is the razor tool. And the razor tool is basically a tool that allows you to split your edit into two. And let me show you guys exactly what this means. So if we go ahead and zoom in like this, or use the shortcut holding down Alt and scrolling, which is just a lot more efficient. If we use the shortcut of holding down Alt and scrolling and expand this a little bit more just so that we can see everything that is happening, and make this a bit bigger so you guys can see, you can see all of my waves. Let's say I really love this edit. I'm gonna go back to my selector tool and play through this. Let's say I really love this edit, but I hate this section here. This section right here, I want to cut it out of the edit. How exactly do I do this? Well, this is where our selector tool allows us, razor tool allows us to change our edit into sections. So if I hover over here, you can see a white line appears, and when I click, it creates what we call a cut. And a cut is basically a point where both these edits split. It is the same video, right? Nothing's happened. However, these are split into two. And so now if I go ahead and select this razor and cut, let's say afterwards, now this is split into three. So you've got your video before and this video afterwards over here. Okay. And let's say I didn't like this part over here in the middle. All I have to do is select it, right click, and where is it? You can cut it out like so. And then I can just select this part, or just select the second video and move it back, and I have successfully cut that out. So we use the razor tool to create sections inside of our edits, and it's mainly useful when you want to create cuts or when you want to move certain sections. Like let's say, for example, I don't like the fact that there's such a big pause over here. So I could just make a cut before the speaking, make a cut after the speaking, and take all of the silence in the middle, and then just go ahead and cut it out and move our clip back. And there we go. So you can use the razor tool whenever you want to create any cuts, or whenever you want to split your edit into multiple sections, or when you want to split your clip into multiple sections, right? If you want to split things, rearrange clips, you want to make cuts, this is going to be a very, very useful tool for you. It's also useful if I want the clip to start somewhere and be somewhere else at a different point. So for example, here Alex is speaking, and then here Chris kind of speaks, right? So over here Alex is speaking, and here Chris is speaking. So let's zoom in real quick. On the section that Alex is speaking in, I'm going to go ahead and select my razor tool and make a cut right there. Okay, because this is the section in which Alex is speaking in. And in the section in which Alex is speaking in, I'm just going to select this clip, go up to my effect controls, and I'm just going to zoom in a bit more and just kind of move over to where Alex is. It's just to show you guys a quick example. And now if I move over to my second clip, you can see this effect is gone. Where Chris is speaking, we're going to zoom in and move over to where Chris is on the left side. And there we go. And now if you go ahead and play through this, right, over here, like this, for example,
because if it is different,
there we go, and then
like that is what optical advantage.
Boom, we have the cut. Okay, so you guys can see it allows us to move and place things a bit different. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo all of this stuff just to make sure we have a clean edit one more time, and that is where we are going to be using our razor tool. Now the third tool, which we use a lot of times, is the type tool, and the type tool is the easiest one. You basically select this, it has a big T on it, and you click anywhere on screen and type out whatever you want, and you basically end up with a text box. Okay, And it also generates it as a text layer over here. And as I mentioned before, you can click your selector tool to select it. And you notice it has different effect controls, but similar ones to our video. So our video has the positioning and this one has it too, but it's under vector motion and it's got its own motion and so on. We'll be diving into all this cool stuff later on, so don't even worry about it. One cool thing you could do with the type, which I think is very, very interesting, is you can actually select a certain area like this, which creates what we call a text box. And the text box just allows you to write only inside of it. So once you get to the edge, it goes back to the middle, okay? So it's really, really cool. So let's go ahead and delete that and make sure you select your selector, okay? So 3 main tools you're going to be using all the time. If you wondered how I scrolled up, I just held down Control and used my scroll to go up and down. And remember, Alt and scroll is a very good key for zooming in and out. And then let's say if you zoom out and you want to move around the timeline, just scroll without Alt and without anything else. It's going to allow you to move the timeline, or you can always use these sliders down here if you want it to be a lot easier. So 3 big tools we're going to be using all the time: selector to select things around our timeline, razor to cut things up, and type to type things on the screen. You guys are going to be seeing how we're going to be using these inside of our edit in the future. Last thing I also want to do is just go through the rest of these tools and what they are. The track select just allows you to select everything after a certain point in the track. So you guys will see me use this in the future. And then the pen tool allows you to draw random shapes like this using a pen. This one is familiar for Photoshop users. The shape tool allows you to draw a rectangle, and if you hold down and set it to ellipse, it allows you to draw a circle, and if you hold down and set it to polygon, it allows you to draw a polygon. All of these are added as shape and graphic layers. The hand tool allows you to move around the scene, and if you want to do this freely, you could just click your middle scroll wheel. You could click it down, like if you have your selector, you could click it down and move around without using the hand tool. And if you're done with moving, you could set this to fit to recenter your video like that. And that's pretty much all the tools which are inside of Premiere Pro. So Premiere Pro is pretty limited with tools. The main ones you're going to be using all the time is selector, razor, and type tool, okay? And that's pretty much it. I mean, most of editing just comes down to, adding an effect from the effects panel, which we will dive into in later courses, and then changing some of its properties in the effect controls panel, and then changing, making a cut and so on using your razor tool, and that's pretty much it. That is pretty much what editing is. Editing is really, really simple. It's just overcomplicated because it's such a simple function. It's such a simple thing to do, but then people just overcomplicate it by layering a lot of good things on it, which makes a very cool artistic style. Okay, so with that being said, in the next episode, we're going to be seeing how we can assign shortcuts to these tools so that we can start saving ourselves more time and start acting professionally. And we're also going to take a look at the backend and the settings of Premiere Pro and how it works. So I'll see you guys in the next episode, which is the settings and the shortcuts, before we dive into our first actionable step. So the next course is going to be the last course you dive into before we start practicing all of this. So I'll see you guys there.